Welcome at Twende Shule, the program that offer an honor in teaching in various subjects. So today we proceed with the history subject. As I'm always saying, study history. So today we are going to see the last subtopic in our topic. Our topic is nationalism and decolonization processes in Africa. So the last subtopic in this topic is about the struggle for independence in South Africa. Historically, South Africa have a unique history because since 1652, the Boer or the Dutch decided to establish their permanent settlement at the Cape. 1652. They dominated the Cape, exercising agricultural activity, and they were called Boers. Boers means farmers. So they were called Boer because they were farmers, but are the Dutch people from Netherlands or from Holland. In 1795, the British came at the Cape. Few years later, the British drove the Dutch out of the Cape. Then the Dutch decided to shift. Around 1830 to 1850, the Dutch decided to shift from the Cape, moving northward in the movement that was called Boer Trek. After that, the minerals discovered in South Africa. Diamond was discovered in 1867 at Kimberley, and gold was discovered at 1886 at Witwatersrand. So the economy of South Africa flourished from that time. While South Africa was dominated by two powerful states, which was Dutch and Britain, their political, social, and economic affairs changed. The economic development of South Africa was triggered by those European superpowers who dominated South Africa. Then for too long, the Dutch were there, the British were there, dominating the social and political sphere of South Africa. Then in 1920, before 1920, 1910 first, the British declared the independence of South Africa. But the independence was for the side of Dutch. Then what happened in 1948, when the political party of the Dutch came into power, they introduced a new system which started to segregate and discriminate the native of South Africa because of their race. You know, when someone wants to discriminate you or to segregate you, must identify you according to a certain criteria you have. So for the first, they started to identify according to their color. That the people now were judged according to their color. I remember Martin Luther said, "I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will come to live in this nation without being judged according to their color, but to be judged according to their spiritual content." But in South Africa, people were judged according to their color. So the government under President De Malan introduced the policy that was called apartheid. Apart means separate. Hate means race or color or origin. So the apartheid policy, together we call it apartheid. Which means racial segregation or racial separation. So the Dutch now, they were believing that they were superior race than the black race. They came up with the doctrine that mixing color is against God's will. That even God, when he created black and white, had his purpose. So when you mix means you are going against the God's will. They enacted various laws which separated the black race, who were the majority, from the white race. Africans were segregated in the social services. We are segregated in the public transport. We are segregated in school. We are segregated in all spheres of life. Even the toilet, they were not allowed to share. It was illegal to have sex between black and white. It was illegal to have marriage between black and white. So they introduced this policy after 1948, when the government of President De Malan won the election. So the apartheid policy, racial segregation started before, specifically around 1920. But it was institutionalized, became as an institution from 1948. Now what happened in South Africa was the increase for the desire to have freedom. Yes, since 1920s, the people of South Africa were struggling for the independence. The ANC was formed in 1935. They were struggling for independence by peaceful means. But after the introduction of apartheid policy, they continued struggling through peaceful means. But something changed from 1960 after the Schuppaville massacre. Therefore we say, South Africa, being a settler colony, was dominated by Boers and the British at different times. Regained its majority rule via both peaceful and armed struggle means. This is due to the fact that South Africa had suffered from the apartheid policy, which segregated the majority black from the minority whites. So the majority blacks were segregated from the minority whites. Almost 75% of South African land was owned by the whites, while the majority blacks possessed and they were settled together in a Bantustan, like in Soweto, whereby those poor Africans, they were concentrated there in Soweto. From 1940s, the political party called ANC African National Congress received young educated radicals like Walter Sisulu, Anthony Lembele, Oliver Tambo, and Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. These new men formed the strongest ANC Youth League. Then in 1955, the ANC organized a congress which produced the Freedom Charter. And the Freedom Charter stated that South Africa belongs to all races. Now you may see how the African had humanity. They were believing that South Africa belongs to all races, whether you are white or blacks. But for the European or for the Boers, they were believing that South Africa belongs to the white race. They were believing that the Africa were the sons of the lesser God. And the Freedom Charter stated that South Africa belongs to all races. Now you can see the humility and the humanity of the people of Africa, that South Africa belongs to all races. While for the Boers, they were believing that South Africa belongs to the white races. So the Africa had no spirit